Welcome to Playfully Orange, our conversations about arts and culture here in Central Florida. My guest today is Moschburg. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, you are a visual artist, and we want to talk about what you're doing now. But before that, let's get a little background about where you came from and how you got started. So I know you're a citizen of the world. Tell us about that.
Yes. So my journey begins as a global journey around the world. It started off when my father was in the military. I used to follow him around every 4 years. We would go to different countries. I've lived in countries such as Panama, Guam, Japan, England, and Germany. And during that conquest, I've grown up. I've seen a lot of different things. I've taken in a lot of culture, and I like to share and express that type of culture with everywhere I go and everyone I meet.
And I think your high school years were in Germany.
Yes.
And were did you know when you were in high school that you wanted to be an artist? How did that come about?
Not at all, actually. During high school, I was still exploring into myself, trying to figure out who I am and what it is that I like. And it wasn't really until my early years in college that I realized that art was my passion and art is what I want to do with my life.
But in those German years, you were also being exposed to a lot of classical Western art.
Yes. During the time in Germany, my mother would take me to a lot of art museums. A lot of she would take me to Paris. We would go to the Louvre. We would go down to different French districts that were known for like art and artists. And it was during that when I really opened my eyes to see that what fine art can be and how I wanted to be a part of that world. I didn't know how to get into it, but it was so captivating seeing everything that I witnessed growing up, especially when it comes to the arts like that it definitely influenced me into becoming who I am.
Is there some particular art or art experience that really affected you?
Yes, the art experience that probably affected me the most was during college. I was watching the film Fantasia, and I loved this film so much that it inspired me to make me want to craft something. And I couldn't believe by the end of the film that back in the 40s, Disney and his whole team was creating these majestic works of art in motion, and I haven't done anything. So after watching that film, I needed to create something immediately. And I went into my room and I was drawing with color pencils. And it was during that time when I was actually presented a canvas by my girlfriend at the time. She had a canvas and some paints, and then she introduced me into painting, and I've done it ever since.
Well, that's interesting. The Fantasia, um, I can see that foundation in your work, which is wild and colorful and not at all Fantasia, but I can see now the germination of how that could lead you to where you are now. And so, out of college, you were able to go right on working as an artist.
Not right on. It began when I was 18 is when the art journey started. That's when I first began painting. And it wouldn't be until 6 years from that date until 2020 when I first was able to do my first professional project. And that's when it actually launched everything that I've been doing now and everything that my company represents.
What was that first professional project?
The first professional project was actually Desertland, Orlando. It was a massive mural project, and I went from doing small canvases, well, large canvases, to doing extremely large walls.
Well, you have grown in that mural business and with murals around the state, right?
Yes, now you can find my murals all throughout Florida, all some in Georgia, but in a lot of the major cities in Florida, you can find them in theme parks such as Desertland and different commercial projects like restaurants and other city projects as well.
With the murals, are those spray paint?
At first they were, which was a difficult challenge for me to transition from canvas painting to spray paint. And I assumed that murals had to be done in some type of spray application. However, I found out very quickly that my skill was through hand painting. And now everything that I've painted for the past year to 2 years has all been completely by hand without any use of spray application.
And what, so with the commercial things, I guess you're kind of given parameters of this is what we're looking for. When you don't have someone telling you these are your parameters, what do you like to do? What are your inspirations or your vision?
For me, what I like to do for my inspiration is I really try to take um, a colorful aspect. I create a subject matter, something that has usually to do with my life, my past, something that means a lot to me, and then I'll infuse that with a very vibrant, colorful world that is very surrealistic to anything that you would find in reality. I'm always am trying to create something of which you couldn't see without seeing it through art.
Yes, you have an exhibition currently in the Orange County Administration Center, which what do you title that?
That will be the Velveteen Banana 2.
And Velveteen Banana, is that a play on the Velveteen Rabbit?
Yes, it is actually. So the play on the Velveteen Rabbit is the aspect of having a sense of real, and the whole book, The Velveteen Rabbit, has to do with what is real, how do we define real, and by the end of the book, the moral is that real is whatever we make real, and I love that moral because I believe that it's very similar in art. That the art is only going to be expressive, it's only going to have meaning to it if we ourselves, as the viewer, as the person, gives it meaning. So it's only going to be as real as we make it. And I hope that when people see my art, that they can find a sense of something real in there, either if it's emotion or if it's just a sense of pride in seeing the art itself.
I know some of your work um, is has all kinds of images within it. It has an overall um, impact, but if you look close, there's little people or little objects or buildings. Um, it's interesting combination of all kinds of things. And then you have a couple that are like portraits of a dog that are very different. What are
No,
those about?
so what that is that I like to do art on a very wide spectrum. I believe that life is a reflection of art and art is a reflection of life, and that in life you have a lot of ups and downs. Life can get very confusing, it can get very crazy, but then it can go calm and it can go very mellow, and then it can go right back to being crazy, just like a roller coaster. So I always try to add that type of aspect into my art where it's never the same. It's not going to be the same exact painting, even though it's all coming and being produced by myself. One painting might be mellow and calm, but then the next painting, just like life, can take a huge turn and be extremely chaotic, and it can have a lot of expressive forms that I would call dramatic. And that is why I like to add little things as well as crazy things, as well as some simplify or some more simple versions of my art.
How have you found Orlando to be a home for you?
Orlando is a great home for me. I have lived here now for the past 7 years, and it was truly here in Central Florida, in Orlando, where I first began painting deep into the night, and when I would spend the hours after work coming home. And it was the inspiration of the city. I believe I've never lived in a big city, so I believe living here in Orlando really inspires me that you can do more. You know, you see these giant buildings, these skyscrapers, and you have to remind yourself that humans made that. Like people like us, like we are capable of so much more. And I believe that Orlando has inspired me to do more of myself and to really project that upon the rest of the people.
Is there anything you feel that is missing here in Central Florida?
Um, I wouldn't say anything is missing. However, I do believe that the more art we can infuse into Central Florida, the more of an art mecca this can become. I truly see that Central Florida could be the next New York, the next Paris, as long as we put the artists we have and we give them the tools they need and the time they need, I believe we can truly create anything. And if we keep striving towards it, we'll take what we have done in the past as humans and we'll push that forward. And I believe that's the most important part in art, is always taking it to the next step, to the next level.
Great. Well, we are grateful that you are here and we can see your talent around. And thank you for joining me today on this issue of Playfully Orange.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching this issue of Playfully Orange. Please join us again. We'll see you. Bye.